What's up everyone? So today we're going over some RX78 Gundam. It did seem to get a little bit of a nerf when it came to the duration of the stun, or the fact that it apparently just goes past people's shields now. That was kind of strange. It was a little bit of a bug. But like I said, it does seem to have gotten a little bit of a nerf, but that doesn't mean it's completely out of the fight. So we're going to go over some gameplay, we're going to talk about it, and see what you can do with the character still. To be very specific though, I don't want you guys thinking that this is a bad character. It's honestly not. It's extremely powerful still. It has a sort of just enforcer type playstyle where you deal a lot of damage. When the enemies get low, you walk and frag out. Like as you can see there, that was a huge amount of damage. I should definitely have just shot there instead of using my cooldown, but I got caught in like two ideas of trying to hit the gun tank with my cooldown, and then I went and threw it at that person instead. It does make enemies drop their shield, which is really useful. I'll open an eye from there, and I did, but then he went and found my teammate instead. At this point, we're kind of just in a bad position. Don't really want to be here anymore. You do have a shield ability, which I tried to maximize the usage of it there, but I ended up dying right before it. It's useful to play defensively with, but also aggressively. So if you are using that ability to like pull yourself out of sticky situations, but also to push into aggressive areas with, you're going to find yourself getting a lot of value out of that. And since you do deal a healthy amount of damage, you're also honestly like a solid counter to a lot of things in the game. Anything with shields, you do a lot of counter capability towards. And a side note, you can break those like I just did, so make sure if you see those popping up, you click on them. Although not when you're playing against me, because yeah, and this is like what I'm talking about, where you can use it to dash away and then get killed later by an ultimate. But in that situation, I did get a little bit of a sticky situation, and I just ran away. I would have been okay, most likely, if it hadn't been for the fact that I got gun tank ulted. So we're coming back here. I do have my ultimate. This ultimate, I'm not going to try and use it to secure a fight win. I'm going to try and use it to buy time for my teammates and for me to frag out. So I'm going to hit against this wall right here, and then I'm going to use that to start making some space here. I did not mean to dash there. That was a little bit strange. But it essentially just lets you to like secure yourself more of an aggressive fight. So if you do pop it in like that, like for example, people tend to panic. A lot of people don't really know to shoot it yet. So as you can see, what they did there is the gun tank just walked into it and died. So it can be used well. It's not like a super amazing ultimate, to be completely honest. It might feel like that sometimes, but it's not particularly super stunning or anything. So just make sure you are playing with the intention to use it for something rather than to just get a bunch of potential out of it. It's not quite like one of these abilities that just insta-frags your enemies. And when that goes out, that ultimate, we run away, because we will lose those for sure. Something will be respawning behind me, but I'm going to try and get some damage on the enemies. We're going a little bit too hard there, but we get an HP, and we should be able to get out of here. We do. That's the nice thing about this character. It's not a tank by any means, but it is tank E. So you can use it solidly to just ensure yourself some extra safety when you play in aggressive positions like that. And that's a very convenient way that you can use it. And your damage is very like reliable. That's kind of tragic. My ultimate ended up getting broken right as I threw it. I was trying to use it to buy us some time. We should be fine overall, but I wanted to buy myself some time with it and make the situation a lot less risky of a potential loss. Because as you can see here, we're pretty close to losing if our gun tank doesn't touch here. The stun is useful. I was going there just to, you know, honestly test to see if I could hit it on something like that was moving. Just want to get a little bit of practice in, but it's not too good to be just throwing into things just because your shots will do like more damage if you just hit a headshot, and you really only want to be using that towards things with stuns. So don't just be like sitting around like trying to, you know, use it as like an easy form of damage, because that isn't really what it's meant to do. As a note, when Guntank is ulting, its hitbox is still gives you a headshot on the head of it, right? Nothing about that changes, so make sure that you are trying to make sure that you're going for that. Again, somehow we're being rolled here. I tried to get my ultimate off before I died, but couldn't quite do it. Alright guys, now we're on for our attack. So what you're going to see me end up doing here a lot is playing early in the fight to try and poke enemies and get a decent amount of value that way. But then only when the fight is like solidly secured in my advantage am I then going to try and push that. Yeah, get out of here, Barbatos. I don't really see why this guy wants to try and challenge me like this, but that's just a little bit of a troll. That's... okay. Alright. Well, that was a unique experience. Didn't really, yeah, I don't know. Obviously, this does heal you, but it looks like he killed me right as I walked through it. Sounds like he's nearby again, though. I feel like I hear him, but we're winning this fight anyway, so I'm gonna ignore him and go past him. Something that's extremely useful to do is to try and ping things whenever you die. Pinging things when you're live obviously is valuable, but then again, you're taking away time from pressing another key and doing something else. But pinging when you're dead, there's absolutely nothing else to do, so you should make sure you ping. Pinging is super, 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 super valuable in this game. It's something I haven't quite decided exactly what keybind I want to use for it, so I'm still a little bit off on that sort of stuff. But the value that you can have with it is extremely high. So, like I said, since this character is an enforcer character, you're going to play like toward basically like the mid of your team. And then when your team tries to push forward, like right now we're still in equal fight, but now that the fight's starting to devolve, this is when my character's going to start to shine. I ended up using my cooldown, so I don't quite have what I want, but assuming I have my cooldowns here, I can push into this and start going aggro. So I want to push in this with my shield, take some space, and roll the enemy, maybe. And get my existence ignored. A little unlucky there. I might not have perhaps gone for such an aggressive play normally. Just I wanted to showcase what it's supposed to look like, kind of. Obviously, you do have to kind of plan ahead of like what the situation is going to look like after you fully push the engagement. You know, like maybe that one was a bit too aggressive to be pushing like that, but. But sometimes you still go for them anyway, just to see what your character can do. At this point, we don't win this fight anymore, so I start to back up. It's fine to kind of hang out in these fights as long as you're not like too risky about it. But if I die right now, I'm basically just throwing the game. Now I'm gonna look for a flank from above them. It's really, really useful to get flank angles. This one's more risky just because of the fact that you then take damage from enemies that decide to come push you through here, through this high ground. Because the other one is harder for them to get to. But the amount of aggressive force you can push on them is really good. Assuming you have someone like on the opposite side too, then no area on this point is safe. Again, farm another ultimate. I'm going to make sure to use it to try and pressure the enemy. So I'm going to push it, throw it behind them back there when we get our whole team. And I'm going to stand up on this high ground and try and kill whoever gets pushed forward. We almost have our full team. And I'm going to go for it here. Throw it behind them, look to take an angle, and bully them. Huge ultimate. So like I said, it's an ultimate that allows you to get positioning on them, essentially. So that enabled me to control their positioning. They started scurrying to run away when the ult came out instead of just shooting it. And granted, their positioning wasn't like too amazing to start with because they're just standing on the low ground. But we get pretty decent value out of that. And I accidentally dashed off. There's something that'll happen if you like hold one direction sprinting and then press the other direction. It'll start you sprinting, or it'll dash you like that. So that's what I ended up doing there. By the way, on this character, it's the one that you can dash with while you end up... You can dash with it while you use your... Come on, man. Come try me. Maybe I'll be able to kill this guy after all this. And we do. Block all the damage on the shield. They definitely could have rezzed their guy there, but I guess they chose not to. So. Yeah. But you want to make sure you're using your ultimate to get advantage out of. We're pushing this again for some reason like this, so I'm just going to throw this in the back there, or bounce it off the wall on accident. That's kind of sad. Maybe we'll also get something out of it. Guess we did. I guess if I don't know where I'm throwing it, they don't know where they're throwing it, right? I don't really want to be giving up this high ground just for free, so my team's going to pressure the point while I capture it. It's a pretty valuable thing to do right here, just because, you know, if we're all staying on the point, yeah, we're capturing the point still, although I don't believe it's going to go any faster past 3, but I'm losing the advantage of having control of map and control of the high ground. Now we're on our second attack here, so I'm going to try to do the same sort of thing that I did. Not play so aggressively and die in certain circumstances, but yeah. If they're playing this aggressive, honestly, it's really good for us on offense. We do want to check to make sure there's not something that can outrange me doing a lot of damage. I don't really see anything that particularly, you know, is something I need to be too worried about. Obviously, they have like an Ashimar that has better range than I do, but I'm talking specifically like a GM sniper. If it's a GM sniper, then that's something that I really want to be careful about. But yeah. So, we've taken this space here, which is pretty solid. I'd like to be able to stay on this high ground here. It's just a solid place in general for us to be. Just controlling them around this area. I can drop if I need to. Stopping them from pressuring us on this place too far. Because I'm covering, you know, half of my body to do this, essentially. I do wish I could crouch, though. Oh my gosh, that was actually horrifyingly scary there. So it's like their Gundam killed himself and then we got a kill. It's a little bit of a weird exchange there, but since we do have such fast respawns, I'm continuing fine to like take this attack. And when my team's ready, I'm going to walk in and do the same sort of thing with my ultimate. Throw it behind him, look to frag whatever pushes into me. Just like that. Now, these people keep, you know, walking into it, which is... which is interesting, you know. Wouldn't really expect that to happen all too frequently. But regardless, I still got the Dom Trooper pick off of that, and my team was able to push aggressively. It's just when you do things like that, it's why I like using it as like an instigation ult, essentially. The enemy doesn't have the ability to take the advantage, take the initiative in the fight. So I really like doing that, just because I know that like if you pressure the enemy before they pressure you, they have a chance to lose before you have a chance to lose. It sounds kind of, you know, like pseudo-scientific, pseudo-philosophical sort of a comment there, but it really is like that. If you take the aggression first, they do have a chance to lose before you have a chance to lose. So, you know, unless you just absolutely troll, right? But that's basically what you want to be doing. Oh, yes. It's okay, guys. I'm not here. That ultimate's so strong, though. Ultimate is actually tremendously powerful. I'm gonna throw some stuff into him from behind. Well, I secured myself 3 picks. That's pretty good, I'd say. Again, I'm gonna use this to zone him off the point. If I don't feel like I need to secure kills. Yeah, here's a good place to use it. Throw into the spawn. Oh, I threw it a little bit too far here. It does have a way of just kind of traveling a distance. But the idea was solid. Just zone them off the point, put pressure into them. Ooh, and I'm in that radius. It's kind of hard to tell sometimes exactly like if you're in the radius or not. Looks like we're not gonna be winning this section on this round, but we did get a good, 50% off of that. So that's not winnable. As long as you get a solid chunk, the game is winnable, and then that's good enough in these sort of situations a lot of the time. What ends up happening a lot is if you are the one who defends or attacks first, you also, you defend last, and so you have a very specific spot in which you can just stop them. On these maps though, like that's how it works in a game like Overwatch with the payloads and things like that. Like you can just wait till the right in front of it, but on the point capture and stuff like that, it gives you a lot less leeway than they had. For example, they could have stabilized and given us more time and give us more of the point, but now that we're defending, we won't have that advantage. So that's what the advantage is of the attacking team. The team who finished with more time in the first set of rounds, they do get an advantage like that. So we're going to see how well we can defend them here and see if we can win this game. Again, we're holding up in a place that puts us in a lot of danger. We have sidelines from there, there, everywhere they can see us, and it's just honestly not a good place to be, which is why I don't really like doing it. I don't like holding this space here. It's not very valuable just because it doesn't give us a good place to retreat to, because even if we retreat, we drop down the opposite side and then they're on the floor against us, Like holding back here is pretty valuable just because you can hold this high ground, and it can be hard for the enemy to like get us off of here as long as we have a pressure from another angle too. But you don't want to go like overboard with it. Don't mind me just shooting him in the foot. And we use our shield to dip out. This character really is very, very powerful as it has a very aggressive force against tanks with shields and Gem and other RX78s. But it also just has a very good, like, just raw capability to do stuff. It's honestly just very, very strong in a bunch of different ways. The stun and the shield doesn't last as long though, like I was saying. So while it did receive nerfs, well-designed nerfs to be completely honest, a nerf that we should be happy about as a general player base. While if you're an RX78 player, it might make you feel a little bit bad. It definitely is good for the game as a whole. These tanks needed some sort of counterplay against that sort of stuff. Sometimes you're also just well placed and you kind of frag out like that. It's very convenient with this character that you can use its shield and dash at the same time. So it really is like an aggression, like a hard aggression ult, but then also like a panic and get away ultimate kind of thing. And honestly, with that sort of stuff, with controlling the high ground like that, like controlling the close high ground, not the far high ground, we were able to secure a pretty easy victory, it looks like here. I don't think anyone's going to be able to get back here against us too well. Maybe that guy will, but... Alright, now I understand why I'm getting so many kills. Teams just literally walk into that stuff. So now the fight's dying down here. It's honestly best to just try and get back to the point. Went for a little bit of a risky res there, and we might end up getting punished for this, to be honest. Yeah, like that is the thing about rezzing people. You do just automatically take a risk by doing so. But to be completely honest, like half of my team walking into that RX78 ult and just dying is a little bit silly there. Especially because you can shoot it. Like you can literally break it. It doesn't have a lot of HP. I'm close to my ult again though, so I'm gonna look here to poke. Poking is very advantageous in general. Just having the capability to sit here and frag out some damage is excellent. Not too far though, and unfortunately sometimes it does make your teammates feel like they should walk up and feed. But as long as, especially if you can like communicate to your friends and stuff like that, if you know like, hey guys, let's not stay here for good, let's back up after this. Then it's fine. I'm gonna ult here though. I want to throw this behind them and see what we can get out of this. Again, I feel like I'm getting a lot more like advantage out of these than I should be able to get, just because of the fact that like it is a very telegraphed ultimate. But again, something that is extremely powerful in these sort of situations is just that any sort of kills like we get here, any sort of trades we get are very advantageous towards us. Maybe I can get a res here. Unlikely, but yeah, you don't want to go for those kind of reses. They're very low, but I think we're gonna end up trolling ourselves here. The reason that trades are so good for us, though, if we can trade 1-for-1 in a normal situation, is because they respawn so much further from us. So if we do get back, like, you know, trade 1-for-1, we get back way faster than they do. So any trade we're doing, we're getting like essentially like a 7-10 second advantage on them. So yeah, in this game, you know, they pushed all on point and they all stood on point, and we ended up just hitting with a lot of damage and finishing them off. But yeah. If you're looking for some more Gundam Evolution videos, then make sure to check out my mobile suit guides. I made one for all original to 14 mobile suits, and I did a Should You Main Guide series also, covering the same mobile suits and talking about whether you should actually main them in Gundam Evolution or not.